The Portland Trail Blazers have closed the book on an entire era in the history of their franchise, trading away one of the three best players to ever wear a jersey for their team, and officially going into a rebuild. However, unlike most instances of a player moving on from a team, the Blazers already have a ton of pieces to rebuild around in place, and have one of the more fun young cores in the NBA, which is what I want to talk about in this video. But quickly before we go any further, if you're new and like basketball, I'd really appreciate if you would like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever I release a video. I make videos about basketball all the time, and liking and subscribing are the two best ways you can help me out in the YouTube algorithm. Let's try and get 100 likes on this video so YouTube will recommend it to others. Anyways, let's talk about the Blazers. Obviously, it starts with Scoot Henderson, the third overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft. Now, you guys know by now how high I am on Scoot. I've made countless videos on him already, but he's a special talent with a rare combination of athleticism, skill, feel, and intangibles. He's a high-level playmaker, he's a really good shot creator, he has unlimited rim pressure potential, and while not a great three-point shooter, he has promising indicators in terms of shooting touch and mid-range scoring ability for me to believe that he can develop into a good one. I know he's only 6'2", and that's not the tallest in the world, but he has rare athleticism, he has a long enough wingspan, and has proven against grown men at a really young age, as young as 17 in the G League, that he can play a lot bigger than his 6'2" height might suggest. The fact that Portland got him with the third overall pick is insane. He was easily my number 2 prospect in that class. In most years, he would be my number 1 prospect, and in most years, he would have gone first overall. I'm excited to see what he does as a rookie. I think he's further along than most rookie point guards his age due to the fact that he's battle tested against NBA level athletes. The G League is not the NBA, but they are closer to NBA caliber athletes than in college, and those guys do have high level college, pro experience as well, even if it's not the NBA, but some of them do play in the NBA, and he looked dominant at times against them. I think he's going to be in the running for Rookie of the Year, and I really think they're going to give him the keys to the offense immediately. But Scoot isn't the only player to be excited about with this Blazers team. Anthony Simons has developed into one of the best young scorers in the NBA. He's an elite three-point shooter, one of the better three-point shooters in the league in general, not just for his age. He's an elite athlete. He can play on and off the ball. Now, I don't think he has primary scoring offensive engine upside, because I do think he's somewhat limited as a creator in terms of counters. The ability to counter when a move gets stopped for him isn't the greatest, but I would also say that he is good at creating offense. He is good at creating separation. It's just that sometimes it isn't always pretty when it doesn't go his way. But regardless, this is a guy who can average 25 plus points per game and be an elite three-point shooter. Long term, I view him as the second scoring option that can play multiple roles and multiple lineups. He can play with Scoot. He can play with second units. He can play on the ball, play off the ball, and he's on a very team-friendly contract. $25 million a season for a guy who just turned 24 and averaged over 21 points per game on 45, 38, 89 splits is unreal value. That's a player that could be making upwards of $30 million a year, in my opinion, especially considering he could get even better than those numbers. I think he likely will be the Blazers' leading scorer this season. That's with the context of them keeping Jeremy Grant or trading him, because if you look at last season, Simons was already their second leading scorer in terms of role and even the numbers, and that was with Grant and Dame on the roster. So I think it's very likely he leads them in scoring this year. I think he could average 25 points per game. And long term, he has a very valuable role with this franchise. Zaden Zaden is a player I'm very excited about moving forward. He's a freak athlete that's a good three-point shooter and has shot creation upside. Now, the numbers as a rookie don't stand out the most. 9.9 points per game on 47.2, 36, 71.4 splits. But that doesn't tell the full story. He averaged 18.5 points per game as a starter and 12.9 points per game in the games that he played at least 20 minutes. Regardless, I was extremely impressed by his rookie season given the context. He spent a year and a half without any game speed reps prior to his rookie season. He reclassified up, he went to Kentucky, but he didn't play because they thought he was only reclassifying up to get a head start and be ready for the next season and enter the 2023 draft. For context, he was the number one recruit in his high school class prior to him reclassifying up, but he didn't play and he still declared because teams gave him feedback. He was going to go in the top 10, and the fact that he showed what he did as an NBA rookie, basically going from AAU, not playing competitive basketball for a year and a half, to the NBA. It's extremely impressive. His rookie season showed me that he would have been a top 3 to 5 pick had he played at Kentucky. He went 7th overall based off his high school tape alone. And the fact that he was as good as he was in his rookie season, given the context of you're making the adjustment to the best league in the world from the last game speed reps you play as a high school player to really only scrimmages in college, that's a tough adjustment to make, and the fact he looked as good as he did is really telling of the potential he has. And again, I do think, had he played at Kentucky, he would have been a top 3 to 5 pick. I think he would have been a top 5 pick had he played at Kentucky this past season instead of declaring for the 2022 draft. And really, at the end of the day, you look at the fact that he has this much upside and has gotten a lot better. It's not just the fact that he made this adjustment, he's shown a lot of improvement. His handle's gotten better, the three-point shooting has gotten better. He just overall looks a lot better, despite the fact that he didn't get the most game speed development that you would want from a young player. I think Sarp is the second most valuable prospect on the roster long term behind Scoot. I'm very intrigued to see his growth as a shot creator and with his handle. But he will bring value in terms of shot making and athleticism, even if those things don't improve. And I do think they will improve because they already have. I can't wait to see what he does with Scoot on the fast break. I think you look at those two, and that's one of the most athletic young duos in basketball. And I think long term, he could be a 20+ point per game scorer that fits well with other stars. And like I mentioned in the trade video, I'm very excited about DeAndre Ayton in Portland. He's one of the 10 best big men in the NBA in my opinion. Consistently a 16 to 18 point per game, 10+ rebound per game player. He's a freak athlete, has unreal fluidity. He has really good footwork and touch. He can be a major piano roll man threat because of his athleticism and strength. He's a solid mid-range shooter. I've noticed linear improvement in that area since he's entered the NBA. Runs the floor well in transition. He could be a guy that you throw lobs to, dump offs, and give it to him on the block a few times. He's a solid defender that isn't always locked in because that's always been a question with him. But when he's locked in, he's a great defensive player. But it is a question, how locked in is he? And I'm interested to see how he does in a new situation. It was clear at a certain point he wasn't bought in with the Suns. You saw it a lot in his body language and the effort he gave at times. I really think it started after that 2021 finals where they kind of threw him in single coverage against Giannis and he was fighting for his life. But I do think that there is a possibility he's more bought in with a new situation. It's a new team. It's the first time since 2015 he's not in the state of Arizona. I know Ayton was frustrating at times. He frustrated me on tape. There were times I felt he could be a lot better than he actually is. In fact, that's the story of his career. I always feel like he's good. Being a consistent 18-point per game double-double guy is really good, but you watch him and it's clear he could be so much better. And the thing is, he's only 25 years old. He was one of the 3 most important players on a team that came within 2 wins of an NBA title in just his 3rd NBA season. He's really good even with his frustrations, and I think sometimes people let the frustrations cloud how good a player is, because Ayton is really good. He's somebody that I know you might want to throw in some trade talks. I think he's easily a long-term building block as a big man and somebody that could be a cornerstone for Portland moving forward. Now, we'll have to see if he's locked in and he's bought in, but if he is, he can be a great player for them and maybe look closer to that guy that many thought he would be coming out of Arizona when he went 1st overall. I'm also interested in the talent that the Blazers could add in the future. I don't expect them to be good this season. I think they're going to be one of the 5 worst teams in the NBA, which is fine. It's not an indictment on the young talent. It takes young talent time to grow, and they already weren't really good when they had Damian Lillard this past season. So without Dame, I really don't know how good their record's gonna look. And at the same time, you also have to look at it and say, there are a lot of teams that look to compete this season. Even if they all aren't going to compete, there are going to be teams that are striving for the play-in. And that includes teams like the Rockets, and I think the Spurs are going to make a push for it maybe, depending on how they use Victor. So the Blazers being one of the 5 worst teams in the NBA is something that feels like a real possibility. But even then, they're going to be fun. So I look at guys in the upcoming draft that could fit with them. Ron Holland would be a ton of fun as a wing-forward hybrid with a high motor, freakish athleticism, defensive versatility, playmaking ability, and upside as a shot creator. Matej Buzelis would fit with this core as a versatile wing with playmaking and scoring upside. And Alexandre Sarr would be a fun fit as a forward big hybrid with great defensive ability, special movement skills, and athleticism. Upside as a scorer that's a bit untapped, but the potential is definitely there, and versatility on both ends of the floor. Those are just a few of the fun fits I could see from this upcoming class, and that's also not including the assets they might get in return for Drew Holiday. I know moving on from Dame is tough. He was the heart and soul of not just that franchise, but that city. He's an all-time great player, a first-ballot Hall of Famer. He's given Portland so many memories, but I also think it's exciting to see how they rebuild without him. They have pieces in place to get back to where they want to potentially in a few years. They have a potential franchise player to build around, cornerstones as well, young pieces to be excited about. If they rebuild correctly, we could be talking about a powerhouse in the West in a few years. But that's the end of this video. If you made it to this point, thank you so much. Again, haven't already, like, subscribe, hit notification bell, be notified whenever I release a video. I make videos about basketball all the time, and liking and subscribing are the 2 best ways can help me out in the YouTube algorithm and help me reach my goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of the 2024 NBA season. Let's try and get 100 likes on this video so YouTube will recommend it to others. Let me know what you think about the Blazers. Do you think they made the right trade? Do you think that they will be better than I think they will be? Do you think they'll be one of the worst teams in the league? Think Scoot could win Rookie of the Year? Do you think that Simons could be a 25+ point per game scorer? So maybe makes that leap. Go through all that in the comment section below. But with that being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.